It has been all of 5 seconds for me, possibly less. Um, and as stated last time, I'm going to be doing a fair number of side quests today because last time we ended up tackling most of the main quest heavy hitters until the fourth boss, Sledge. So we've got kind of three major quests that I want to finish off today. The first is the combat rifle scavenger hunt, which also will be the end of the first round of Tanis's echo logs. So, two birds with one stone there. Um, the video before last, we did end up getting our first revolver and haven't had any major issues with ammunition since, thankfully. I personally like the fact that I don't have to stop and hit people with the truck anymore to try and figure out what best to do. We have ourselves a caustic or corrosion weapon. Corrosion weapons are the best at eating through armor as far as the game goes. Best working against vehicles and enemies with thick plate armor like the Alpha Skags. So that's going to be a huge bonus. Aside from that, there, I believe now we've got really everything I would need going forward. Yeah. We have a corrosion weapon, which is great for um, flesh and armor, provided I can hit the broadside of a barn with anything with it. We have a flame sniper, which is best used against flesh and sometimes armor, but it's much weaker against armor than corrosion is. And we have shock, which is best about against shields. But in the at the point in time where you would initially get to this area, with when Patricia Tanis's echo logs become available, typically speaking, the enemies in this area are far too high level to actually take down. To get to it, and you're dealing with a about 5 or 6 rack that each are more powerful than yourself, making it so much harder for you to actually deal with them. Which is why I saved it for after taking care of Sledge's safe house. But with that, 2 down, 4 missions to go, I think, ish, probably 4 to 5. We'll probably finish off the video entering the headstone mines, but yeah, I don't think it should be too bad. This is also the furthest that I have gotten in a no-death challenge in quite some time. Okay, come on. There we go. So we have found out what hit the fan. What? Sort of worked. Um, you know what? I'll take it. Next stop, the Lost Caverns. Lost Caverns are filled with armored enemies, and are about the entire point of it is for the shock crystal harvest. The shock crystal harvest allows to create a upgrade for Bloodwing that allows it to do shock damage as well as fire damage now. Unfortunately, the enemies in here are all incredibly high level, and this sniper is not nearly as potent as I was expecting it to be. Cool, we are sticking with fire today. The good news is that I'm getting a lot out of this. 850 experience per KO. Definitely worthwhile dropping in here. Albeit I'm going to have to figure out a ammunition solution if the if this keeps up. Larva crabworms are very high damage sponges. They're not all that fast, so I could theoretically just run right by them. But in order to actually complete the missions associated with the region, I have to stop and fight them. All right, just give me a second to punch this thing enough that I can actually, collect them. There we go. We also have alphas in here. Alphas theoretically are going to be easier to defeat than usual, but it doesn't seem like my corrosion weapon is doing anything. So, yeah. I almost feel like I waited too long to get here. But, you know, occupational hazard, you never know what you're going up against, so it's always best to stop and double check and just make sure that I'm actually taking my time properly and using it to the best extent I can, instead of rushing in and hoping for the best, even when I know I'll get the worst. Not pessimistic either, it's just how things tend to work in games. At least for me. And we have 7. Where did the other 3 go? Oh, jeez. Why did they launch halfway across the area? It's not like I was doing anything to them. The larva crabworms are also a miniature version of the series' first raid boss, which I think is pretty cool, but at the same time is kind of frustrating because these enemies were hard to begin with, and then they had to go and make them bigger and badder. But yeah, be that as it may, I think I got myself the perfect storm of luck today. So we're gonna keep going until the game tells me I need to stop again. Um, I find that this area, comparatively to the Headstone Mine or even the Arid Hills, it's harder, but it's for the wrong reasons. This area is harder because of trying to make the enemies higher tier, higher damage sponges. It's more of an area that is expected for players who are either taking their time or aren't and are looking to try and catch their or try their luck with high tier enemies, hoping to catch an extra high level weapon or something in this area. Which is simply to say this area is hard, and if you attempt this side mission when it becomes available for the first time, around the time of my first batch of side quests that I opted to do, um, correction, it was just after defeating Bonehead and meeting Chef Sanders that this mission becomes available. Uh, at that point in time, it is theoretically possible to get through this through the Lost Caves, but the amount that you're risking getting through this is, in my opinion, never worth the cost or never worth it. Come on. Awesome. We got 24 out of, there we go, 25. Halfway through the side mission here. Um, and we got ourselves a new enemy type, a Corrosion Alpha. Corrosion Alphas, much like Flame Alphas, have a weakness on their hindquarters. However, Corrosion Alphas, unlike their alternative elemental brethren, fire fast projectiles like mud, making them stronger at long range than either of the prior or either of the other two varieties of alpha skags. And because it is a corrosive alpha, it is also immune to the number one weakness of armored enemies, corrosion damage. Which is to say, this sucks. 3,200 holy, what just happened? I am confused. I didn't throw any grenades, and there was an explosion that took out 3 enemies at once. What happened? Um, I'm very confused. Okay. Let's not dwell on that, I suppose. Let's just keep going and call my good luck what it is. Just good luck. Nothing more, nothing less. There we go. And we're coming out of the door swinging. We've got 5 guys down in 10 seconds flat. We've got the shotgunners left, right, and center attempting to take back their territory. And then we got me, smack dab in the middle of it, making sure that this land remains mine. Okay, can I collect some more of these? That way I can just move on to the next location. Perfect. So we're sitting at 35 crystals out of the 50 I need. This cave is going about 4 times faster than usual. We have a revolver chest. Ew. So let's just compare this beastie. The brutal law is stronger, but the static revolver I just picked up is... Yeah, we're going with the static revolver. Um, there's not enough of a difference to really claim that one is truly superior to the other, but there's just enough there to make it worthwhile to go with the new one over the old one. And if there's anything that I like, it's slow and steady progress. Gross, gross. I like the law, but it's not worthwhile right now. I'm content with my 3 element setup. Hey, none of that. Okay. Stay. I don't want to snipe the... It's a piece of rock game. Let me target what I am actually looking at. That would be nice, thank you. Not worth it. Could have been better. Much better. See, the game's good when it pays attention to what I actually need. Hmm. Trying to decide what actions to take, what to do next. I know I need to get Claptrap's repair kit. That much I will not argue against. We got ourselves another alpha here. Standardized alpha, though. Oh, hi there. And... all right. So, if you're aiming to do this particular mission, I'm going to go for the slightly more risky route. And the reason being is because of the potential payoff that comes from it. We've officially finished the shock crystal harvest, so I don't need to worry about that anymore. The potential payoff of the area I'm going to be checking has 3 chests to open. Each of them being like full ammo chests with weapons inside the works. These chests are potentially going to offer far better weapons than what I've been using. It's a possibility. It's not 100% the most likely thing out there. But theoretically, if I can get to those chests, the worst that'll happen is I have to get through about 10 separate enemies. 10 separate alphas, I should say. which at the experience that I'm earning from this section of the game right now is not going to be at all detrimental, but it will be time consuming. Um, Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. It depends on how I'm feeling that day, how much time I feel I have available. But right now, as things are, I think attempting this is a good plan. So we've got the alphas. Come on. Not quite what I had in mind, but come on. Yeah, I'm overpowered, I can already tell. But that's not the worst thing to discover when doing this kind of a challenge. Anyone else? Two more. Toro. Toro. There we go. One down. That's four down. Almost level 18. And we got our next contender. Come on. There we go. Come on. Perfect. Yeah, this is a very nice spot to get some levels ups. Come on. Yell at me. Okay, that was a guesstimation based on where its body was. Um, but I guess it worked and was definitely worthwhile from a multiple perspectives, actually. Okay, so stabilized justice, double the damage, half the fire rate. Not worth it. That's worth it. Oh, ah, yes. So at this point, time to clean out the inventory. It's not going to make much of a difference to me in the long run. And given that I'm not buying anything outside of storage deck upgrades, I don't need the money. So I'm just going to shrug and say, oh well, it happens. And the Lost Cave has been completed. And this claptrap, I thought initially had something to show me. However, he just does donuts in the middle of the room and starts dancing. Um, Being one of the few claptraps that doesn't have any additional purpose, which is very disappointing, actually. Because, like, there is a bit more potential for this region, and it's something that I notice a lot in the original Borderlands game, especially, is that there's a lot of untapped potential within the game, especially in certain side locations. Some of them are perfectly fine and stay out there welcome as long as they're supposed to. Other ones just tend to blend into the background, so to speak. I expected all that to take a bit longer. So I'm going to do something that I might regret. Um, and I'm going to say this as a warning to anyone attempting this kind of challenge. Anytime you reach a challenge that is a arena mission, like the Circle of Slaughter, for example, um, like Raid Zaben's Circle of Slaughter, I would recommend against actually trying to deal with it. And my reasoning is fairly short-handed or very short-sighted. Um, they do offer decent rewards in terms of experience, like 500 experience for just showing up, 1600 for beating the first round. I recommend against doing this most of the time because these missions are effectively they trap you in a small area with a large group of enemies and expect you to fight your way out of it. And unless you're strong enough to one-shot everything, which I am not, then you're going to end up with a huge loss in terms of the ammunition you're handling. But I am a bit of a completion nut, and I can't actually leave this area right now without taking down this challenge. So, enjoy my suffering as much as you'd like. So I'm trapped in a small room with two alphas that are both on fire for reasons. Okay. And they're now level 15s. I believe it goes to 3 rounds, but if I run out of ammunition, I'm in trouble. I got 2 minutes. Okay. We're going to take it slow. We're going to take it careful. And by slow and careful, I mean don't let a single enemy get anywhere near me. Yay for sidearms. And decent damage per shot. That's what DPS means, damage per shot, right? But if I recall, the third round is the one that causes me the most pain. Because the third round is all about the alphas. Awesome. Luck is not in my favor anymore. We have the badass Flame Alpha. Much like its companions, the Flame Alpha is a high DPS enemy with an absurd health pool, but is also immune to fire damage. So, I'm going to try my best to take him down a couple. But I got to do so in without using any additional resources as best I can. Had an opportunity there and I missed it. Good news is that he is dropping fairly quick. And the corrosion damage is adding up quickly as well. All right. And with that, we have reached the end of the side missions in the area. The only thing left to do is turn everything back in and head to the Headstone Mine. I'll be honest, I'm a little bit nervous. But at this point in time, the steepest difficulty curves have been flattened. From now until the end of the game, which at this point we are about about a third of the way in. We're about a third of the way through the game, roughly speaking, and the second 2/3 of the game are only worth about 10 levels worth of character growth. So right now, as far as I understand, I am well above where I should be, and I've gotten through the hardest part of this challenge in spades. Nope, don't need it. So, with all that being said, as per my usual statements, is there any way that you personally see that I could improve the videos? Be that in audio quality, video quality, in the act of editing, whatever it is that you think I could potentially do better, I'd love to hear from it. As this has been a learning experience for me as far as it's gone. I've had 10 or 11 videos go up at the point that this is being recorded. And I'm still learning things about myself and my personal style for the videos themselves. So it'll be interesting to hear what the viewers think. Anyway, if you like what you see, drop a like, leave a subscribe, and until then, we will see you next time. Oh boy, this is going to be interesting.